Socrates' friends. Socrates, the renowned Greek philosopher, was not only a great teacher but also a friend to many prominent figures in ancient Athens. His friends and students were not merely admirers of his philosophy but partners in the dialogues and discussions that contributed to the development of Western philosophical thought. This article explores some of Socrates' most notable friends and their mutual influence on him. Plato. Among all of Socrates' friends, Plato is the most famous and influential. Plato was a devoted student of Socrates and one of the most prominent philosophers in Western history. After Socrates' death, Plato wrote many dialogues that recorded Socrates' conversations and ideas. Through his works, Socrates' philosophy was passed down to later generations. Plato is considered the primary source of information about Socrates' life and philosophy, and without his writings, the world's knowledge of Socrates would be very limited. Xenophon was a historian, philosopher, and soldier, and one of Socrates' close friends. Although Xenophon was not primarily a philosopher, his writings about Socrates are highly significant. In his work Memorabilia, Xenophon defended Socrates against the accusations made against him and highlighted the ethical aspects of his philosophy. Xenophon's portrayal of Socrates offers a more practical and military perspective, complementing the philosophical narratives provided by Plato. Alcibiades was an Athenian politician and military leader known for his controversial character. He was a student and friend of Socrates and was greatly influenced by him. Despite their significant differences in style and personality, the relationship between Socrates and Alcibiades was complex and challenging. Socrates saw great potential in Alcibiades and tried to guide him towards virtue and wisdom. In return, Alcibiades admired Socrates' character and the strength of his influence. Even if he did not always follow his advice. Crito was a close friend of Socrates and one of his most loyal companions. Crito was a wealthy man who used his resources to help Socrates on several occasions. When Socrates was sentenced to death, Crito tried to persuade him to escape from prison, but Socrates refused, preferring to stay and adhere to his principles. The dialogue between them in prison, as recounted by Plato in Crito, showcases the strength of their friendship and Socrates' commitment to justice. Anytus and Meletus. While Anytus and Meletus are considered enemies of Socrates, the relationship between them was intertwined and complex. Anytus was a prominent Athenian politician, and Meletus was a poet, and they were among those who brought charges against Socrates that led to his trial and execution. The relationship between Socrates and these former friends illustrates how friendship can turn into enmity due to deep philosophical and political differences. Socrates' friends were diverse in their backgrounds and personalities, but they all participated in the dialogues and discussions that formed the basis of Socrates' philosophy. From Plato and Xenophon, who conveyed Socrates' ideas to later generations, to Alcibiades and Crito, who were part of his daily life. These friends contributed to the shaping of Socrates' philosophical legacy. The complex relationships between Socrates and his friends show us how philosophical thought can develop through dialogue and interaction between friends and partners in the search for truth.